In 1938, a 16-year-old girl and a 25-year-old boyfriend robbed exactly two banks in South Dakota. That's it, two banks. No massive crime spree, no trail of bodies, no dramatic shootouts across multiple states. Between August and October of 1938, Ben and Stella Dickson stole just over $50,000 total from their pair of robberies. Yet somehow this couple managed to reach the very top of the FBI's most wanted list, ahead of murderers, kidnappers, and career criminals who had committed dozens of violent crimes and stolen far more money. How does a couple with just two robberies under their belt become America's most hunted outlaws? The answer lies in understanding exactly who these unlikely criminals were. Before we uncover the motives behind the FBI, hit subscribe to never miss another exciting outlaw story from the Wild West. Benjamin Franklin Dickson was born in Topeka, Kansas in 1913, the son of a high school chemistry teacher. At age 10, he earned his community's admiration when he and his older brother Spencer rescued a woman from drowning in Central Park, receiving commendations from the mayor himself. Yet this heroic boy would later fall in with the wrong crowd, serving time at the Kansas State Reformatory for car theft and eventually spending 5.5 years in the Missouri State Penitentiary for a botched bank robbery. After his parole, Ben genuinely attempted to build a lawful career. He studied law and took up boxing, showing real promise in both pursuits. His family believed his criminal days were behind him, but everything changed when Ben met Stella Mae Irwin at a roller skating rink in Topeka in June 1937. Partnership crystallized during summer 1938. Ben recognized Stella's intelligence could compensate for his impulsive tendencies, while Stella saw Ben's criminal knowledge as her ticket away from small-town limitations and family disappointment. They spent evenings together studying bank locations, discussing timing, and rehearsing their approach. On August 25, 1938, Stella's 16th birthday, they walked into the Corn Exchange Bank in Elkton, South Dakota. Ben approached the teller with a demand note while Stella watched the door. They left with exactly $2,100 in cash and drove calmly back to Minnesota. The robbery lasted less than 4 minutes, with no violence and no dramatic chase scene. This seemingly modest birthday celebration was just the beginning of something much bigger. 2 months later, Ben and Stella walked into the Northwest Security National Bank in Brookings, South Dakota, for what would become their final robbery and the crime that earned them a national nickname. The Halloween heist netted them $16,700 in cash, plus securities valued at about $16,000. The total haul exceeded $32,000, a substantial sum during the Depression, but hardly unprecedented for bank robberies of that era. Yet this single crime would catapult the Dicksons from regional criminals to national celebrities in ways that defied all logic. The robbery itself unfolded unlike anything bank employees had ever experienced. Ben and Stella arrived early and discovered the vault's time lock wouldn't be open for another 2.5 hours. Instead of fleeing or attempting to force the vault, they made an extraordinary decision. They told the bank staff to continue normal business operations while they waited. For nearly 3 hours, the Dicksons transformed a bank robbery into the most unusual hostage situation in American history. Customers entered and conducted routine transactions, while Ben and Stella chatted with the employees. This scene reached its peak when Ben noticed a bank worker's coat and decided he wanted to buy it. He negotiated a price, pulled money from the cash drawer, and completed the purchase as if he were a regular customer. This methodical approach earned them the nickname Time Lock Bandits. Most criminals of that period relied on intimidation, explosives, or brute force to access bank vaults quickly. The Dicksons demonstrated patience, treating their crime like a business appointment rather than a desperate grab for cash. Their escape proved equally calculated. After the time lock finally released, they collected the vault's contents and departed without panic or violence. They drove directly to Ben's family's farm in Tyler, Minnesota, where they successfully evaded immediate capture by blending into the rural life. Local authorities found no trace of their route or destination. The FBI's response revealed the true mystery behind the Dicksons' fame. The agency issued nearly 1,000 press releases nationwide about the couple, an extraordinary publicity campaign that transformed two bank robberies into a national obsession dominating newspaper headlines for months. This level of media attention far exceeded typical coverage for similar nonviolent outlaws. Press releases described them as desperate criminals and armed and extremely dangerous, despite their complete lack of violence during their robbery. The disparity between the Dicksons' actual crimes and their media portrayal raised questions that journalists of the era failed to ask. Why did the FBI dedicate such enormous resources to pursuing two nonviolent bank robbers? J. Edgar Hoover recognized an opportunity when he saw the young couple's story. The FBI was working to rebrand itself as a modern, sophisticated crime-fighting agency, and the Dicksons offered the perfect example to demonstrate its effectiveness in combating crime. The agency's true motivation became clear through their media blitz. While dangerous criminals like Machine Gun Kelly and Babyface Nelson received standard law enforcement attention, the FBI launched a full-scale publicity campaign around two nonviolent bank robberies. This wasn't about public safety, it was about public perception. The FBI deliberately elevated the Dicksons to the same level as John Dillinger and Bonnie and Clyde, despite the obvious differences in their criminal record. Press releases described them as extremely dangerous and capable of shooting to kill. Ben and Stella's appearance and dramatic love story made them the media gold. Newspapers across the country ran their photographs alongside breathless headlines about the teenage outlaw and her older boyfriend. Radio broadcasts turned their romance into entertainment, complete with dramatic narration about young love gone wrong. This manufactured celebrity had real consequences. The couple's crime escalated only after the FBI's manhunt intensified and they became famous fugitives. Before the media campaign, they had committed two quiet bank robberies without violence. After becoming household names, they added kidnapping and car theft to their resume in desperate acts of survival. The manhunt created its own mythology. When officers tracked the couple to the Cabin Motel in Topeka, Kansas, a shootout erupted during the arrest attempt. Ben escaped, but Stella demonstrated the marksmanship skills by shooting out the tires of a pursuing patrol car. That earned her the nickname Sure Shot Stella. The irony became inescapable. The FBI's characterization of the Dicksons as violent criminals had created the very violence they claimed to be preventing. The chase reached its inevitable conclusion on April 6, 1939, outside the Yankee System hamburger shop in St. Louis, Missouri. FBI agents shot and killed Ben while he was being lured by a paid informant. Stella's capture in Kansas City 2 days later ended the saga that had captivated America for 8 months. The Dickson story reveals how law enforcement and media can manufacture celebrity criminals to serve their own purposes, turning two bank robberies into a national obsession. The FBI's publicity campaign created the very violence they claimed to be preventing, transforming quiet bank robbers into desperate fugitives. Their legacy persists today. Heist Brewing Company in Brookings, South Dakota named itself after their Halloween robbery, proving how myth outlasts reality. Thanks for watching and make sure to check out other outlaw stories below.